Hey, this is Ralph, and in this video I want to go over making some HTML tags. So I'm going to be focusing on basic HTML. So I'm not going to use any styles, anything terribly fancy here, but we need to get used to the language of writing web pages, and that's the structure. And the analogy I often like to give is, you got to frame the house before you can start to put up the drywall and start to paint and decorate and stuff like that. Well, HTML is kind of like the framing. It sets up the structure of the page, structure of the house. And I want to focus on this structure before you really worry about how is the website going to look, what colors are you going to use, and what fonts are going to be used, and things like that. So I've got a blank page here in Notepad++. And in this video I'm going to go ahead and type out the basic templates, so to speak. I'm going to start off with a Doctype Definition for HTML5, and this goes at the top of every page we write, and it is going to tell the browser which version of markup language that we're using. In this case we're using HTML5, so this is the Doctype Definition or Doctype Declaration for HTML5. Then I'm going to go ahead and put in an opening HTML tag with language English US, and I'll press my enter key a few times. Go and type in a closing HTML tag. So this marks the start of my HTML document, and then the closing tag down here marks the end of my HTML document. So this is really our first traditional tag here on my line 2 and line 11. And the tag itself is HTML. So this is the HTML tag. And inside of this tag I have an attribute, the lang or language attribute. And then I have a value in this attribute that says English US. And we'll do this quite a bit. There's lots of different tags, and then many of those tags have attributes that you can put inside of them that will help differentiate them in even further ways. So I have an opening tag, HTML, and I have a closing tag of HTML, and the closing tag has a little slash in there. Now let me go ahead and let you know about this. You're going to see me type all of my tags in lowercase letters, and I type all of my attributes in lowercase letters, and then the values for the attributes I put in quotation marks. And I do that mostly out of habit because I've been typing these things for years and years and years, and it used to be a requirement under XHTML guidelines that we typed them that way. With HTML5 you don't have to do that. So in theory I could have a capital HTML and a capital language attribute, and I could take these quotation marks out. And this is still okay, and I'll do a uppercase down here. So basically the point is that tags are not case sensitive. You can type them in uppercase letters or you can type them in lowercase letters, and you can go either way. Now if you start to read books on web development in HTML, you'll probably notice most of the books will use lowercase letters because they've been, written by people who've been doing this for multiple years. And back in the HTML4 days of the late 90s, you could do uppercase tags. But once XHTML came out, I want to say around the 1999 time frame, around 2000, and that's when people started actively using it, it was lowercase tags. So, so for the past 13 years, people have been forcing themselves to type lowercase tags, and now the rules of HTML5 say you can go either way. So you can go either way. But I'm going to stick with my habit, okay? My habit is to type all of my tags in lowercase letters, all of my attributes in lowercase letters, and when I put a value for a particular attribute, I'm going to enclose it in quotation marks. So I'm going to do that because it's very precise, and it's also very traditional, so to speak. So you can decide for yourself on which habits of mine you want to pick up, or which habits you'd like to create for yourselves. Maybe you think the uppercase tags are easier to read. Now within my HTML document, I'm going to split this up into two main sections. Oops, I'm still on caps lock. My head section and my body section. Now the head section is going to contain information about the page that's not necessarily directly displayed on the page. I'm going to start off with a meta character encoding here. And then I'll follow it up with a title. And this is going to be HTML tags, the basics. There we go. So I'm starting off in the head section with a meta tag. This particular meta tag has the car set attribute with the UTF-8 variable. And basically this is the conversion of my HTML into binary. And there's a bunch of different things you can put in here, but UTF-8 is the most common. Okay, and I'm putting this right at the very beginning of my head section. Right after that is the title of my page. I'm using a set of title tags. There's an opening title tag and a closing title tag. You may have noticed that there is no closing meta tag. Sometimes there are tags that do not close, and the meta tag is one of them. There's a few others too, by the way. Image and break are two very popular tags that don't have separate closing tags. So there's the start of our document. I'm going to go and hold off now, and let's do a little bit more of this in another video coming up here.